He thought they were just another family, loud, out of place, and not fit for his restaurant. With a single look of disdain, the manager made a decision that would change everything. He told them to leave, certain he had the power to decide who belonged. But as they stood up, calm and unshaken, there was something in their silence, something he didn't see coming. This wasn't just a family. It was a lesson he was about to learn in the most humiliating way possible. Because what he didn't know, that would shock everyone watching. It was supposed to be a simple evening out. The family walked in with quiet confidence, dressed neatly, their smiles carrying the ease of people who had worked hard for every moment of peace they could get. To them, this wasn't just another dinner. It was a chance to enjoy time together, away from the noise of the world outside. The restaurant glowed with warm lights, filled with the gentle hum of clinking glasses and polite laughter. First, no one noticed them, but slowly the stares began. Subtle glances that lingered too long. The kind of looks that make you question if you even belong in a place you've every right to be. Still, they carried on calm, unbothered, trying to ignore the weight pressing against them. They had been here before, not in this restaurant, but in this situation. The unspoken rule was always the same. Prove yourself worthy of space you already deserve. And then, the sound of footsteps, sharp, decisive, cutting through the room. The manager. His eyes scanned them with a look that wasn't just unwelcoming. It was dismissive, almost territorial. He hadn't spoken yet, but the tension in the air told its own story. What he didn't realize in that moment of quiet judgment was that every choice he was about to make would soon be measured not just against his restaurant's rules, but against a truth far bigger than he could imagine. The manager's voice finally broke the uneasy silence. It wasn't loud, but it carried the sharpness of someone who thought authority gave him the right to humiliate. He cleared his throat, glanced at the staff, then back at the family. With a forced smile that didn't reach his eyes, he gestured toward the door. "They'd be more comfortable somewhere else," he muttered under his breath, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. The words weren't direct, but the message was undeniable. "Leave." The family shifted in their seats. A child glanced at their mother, confused. The father stayed calm, his eyes steady, refusing to give the satisfaction of anger. But the atmosphere around them grew heavier. Stares sharpened, whispers floated, and the room itself seemed to tighten. The manager, emboldened by their silence, stepped closer. He spoke again, this time louder, almost daring them to resist. "This table is reserved. You'll need to move along." But it wasn't reserved. Everyone in the room knew it. The lie hung in the air like smoke, choking out whatever dignity the family tried to hold on to. A few diners shifted uncomfortably, others smirked, pretending not to notice. The staff watched quietly, unwilling to intervene, and still the family didn't move. They sat with a calm that didn't fit the situation, calm that almost felt deliberate, a calm that hinted at something the manager couldn't see. He leaned in, his frustration now visible. "If you don't leave, I'll have security escort you out." Pause. The kind of pause that stretches seconds into minutes. The mother placed a hand on the table, her expression unreadable. The father's eyes never wavered. The children looked between them, uncertain but trusting. It should have ended there, with the family standing up, humiliated, walking out into the night. But it didn't, because in that moment, something shifted. A decision had been made, though no one else knew it yet. The manager turned, signaling to a waiter, "Call security." And that was the moment everything began to unravel. Because while he thought he was in control, the truth waiting to surface would flip the balance entirely. If only he had asked one simple question before forcing them out, he might have saved himself from the humiliation about to come. Security arrived within minutes, two men in uniform stepping briskly toward the table. The room hushed, forks paused in midair, eyes fixed on the family who still hadn't moved. The manager stood taller now, chest puffed with authority, certain he had won. "This will be quick," he said under his breath, his smirk returning. But the smirk faded almost as soon as the first guard stopped. Instead of reaching for the family, The guard hesitated, his eyes flickering with recognition. He leaned closer, whispering something into the manager's ear. The manager's face drained of color. "What?" he muttered, his voice suddenly uncertain. The second guard glanced at the family, then back at the manager, waiting. It was in that silence that the truth broke the air like glass shattering. These weren't just customers. They weren't outsiders who had stumbled in by mistake. They were the owners, the billionaires behind the restaurant chain he worked for. Every table, every paycheck, every light bulb above his head existed because of them. The family didn't gloat. They didn't shout. They simply sat there, calm as ever, their presence heavier than any words could be. And that silence, the same silence he had once mistaken for weakness, now felt like a mirror reflecting his own arrogance. The whispers in the dining room swelled. Some diners shook their heads, others pulled out phones, already recording the fallout. The staff shifted nervously, caught between loyalty and shame. The manager's voice cracked. I didn't know. But it was too late. Everyone knew. And in that moment, the balance of power snapped like a thread pulled too tight. Because here was the cruel irony. The very people he tried to push out had the power to push him out forever. And whether they would or not was now the only question left hanging in the room. The manager's hands trembled as he stepped back, his authority evaporating in the weight of silence. The staff avoided his gaze. Diners whispered, some embarrassed for watching without speaking up, others smirking at his downfall. The security guards waited for direction, but none came. The family rose slowly, not with anger, but with dignity that filled every corner of the room. They didn't need to shout. They didn't need to humiliate. Their presence alone was the reminder that respect is not given. It is owed. The father's eyes swept the restaurant, calm but sharp, as if to say, "We don't need your approval. This space already belongs to us." And with that, they walked past the stunned crowd, leaving the manager to drown in the wreckage of his own choices. For him, the fallout was just beginning. The owners he dismissed would not forget this night. His job, his reputation, his future, they all hung in the balance of a mistake born from arrogance and prejudice. And yet, the story wasn't really about him. It was about something bigger, about how often families like theirs are judged, doubted, or pushed aside, until the truth forces the world to stop and see. Because this wasn't just one night in one restaurant. This was a reflection of a pattern that repeats again and again. Power used carelessly, dignity stripped away, humanity ignored. The question is, how many more times must it happen before the lesson is finally learned? Before people are valued for who they are, not judged for how they look. The family left with heads held high. The manager was left with nothing but silence. And the rest of us left with a choice, to ignore the lesson or to carry it forward.